My name is Krissy Carman. I am the 2022 U.S. Women's Mid-Am Champion, and I am going to be playing at the 2023 U.S. Women's Open at Pebble Beach. Growing up, golf was our family sport and activity that we always did together, and I pretty much started golfing once I could hold a club. Some of my earliest memories on the golf course would be just going to the range with my dad. He was just a range rat and just hit hundreds of golf balls, and I would just line them all up on the tees on the range. He was the most amazing dad ever. He was so supportive of me and my siblings and such a great partner for my mom, and they were just best friends. It was very hard when he passed away because that was kind of right when recruiting was starting, and so not having him go through that process and having his guidance, that was definitely a challenging part. But just knowing how he loved golf so much and wanted me to play in college, play in the US Open, like it's just kind of living his dream and just carrying it on.
Obviously that was, she had to toughen up at a young age. She was the youngest. I think her brother's closest to her was like 7 years older. So she was kind of the only one there with her mom quite a bit of the time. And I think that built up her resiliency and kind of her ability to compartmentalize things and push forward. Advice that he would give me on the course was just to swing as hard as you can. Because I had a really good tempo as a little girl, but I just kind of dink. And he really wanted me to just get after it and get after the golf ball. In my head, I always envisioned him just saying like, get after it. Do you want to do the right edge of the one by the green? Do that one.
Mitchell is my husband and my caddy. He's also the best dad ever.
I know what you're doing. No.
Our pregnancy and delivery with Conrad was very challenging. After 36 hours of labor, we ended up having a C-section. All of that made it a pretty tough recovery. And then to just really put the nail in, COVID lockdown happened the next day after Conrad was born.
We had to go back and they do a blood patch in her back, and that felt like her head was going to explode, so that was freaky too. We didn't know if something crazy was happening. She was bedridden for 6 weeks almost. I mean, she had to grind through it big time.
So when I finally decided that I wanted to try to swing a club after I had Conrad, it was kind of one of those moments where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this is gonna go. I just am not feeling super great about where my body is at, or is it gonna move in the same way? And
it took a lot of me convincing her to just keep going. Let's just go hit balls, we'll go do something, we'll take Conrad out to get him out of the house.
Probably 5 months postpartum, we went to the driving range, we brought him out, and I probably honestly only hit 15 golf balls, and I was like, I think I'm done. This doesn't feel right. And we took a couple more months off. Conrad was probably about 14 months old at that point. First, we started just to bring him up to 9 holes at Spring Hill. Conrad was out in the jogging stroller with us, and I was pushing him and playing, and he handled it really well. And so we decided to play 18, and he just loved being out there, and I ended up shooting a 74 after not playing for a couple of years. The
first time she went back and shot a 74, I'm sure from the blues, I don't even know where we were playing, she probably remembers it. Just watching her kind of get the love back and go back to grinding and having fun with it.
So that's kind of the evolution of postpartum to starting back up again. The Mid-Am, when it started, quite frankly, was very hectic for us. Mitchell actually had to fly back home because he had a family funeral to attend to. Conrad also learned how to crawl out of the pack and play the day we got to Florida. I actually missed out on my second practice round because I was so tired. Thanks to Grandma, I got a couple extra naps in.
That was crazy starting. I think heading into it, for those 2 stroke play rounds, we just want to be under par. It was more figuring out the course. I think we were confident going into it. After that, match play is just not worrying about your opponent. Maybe we got caught up a little bit with that the first round. She hit that one better than me and yada yada, and then we needed to kind of settle in. And
After that, it was cruise control the rest of the time.
I would say the husband-wife dynamic and the golfer-caddy dynamic is really similar in a lot of aspects. He just knows how to dial me back in and really what to say to get me back on track.
In the final match, obviously, you know, they kind of have cameras out, they bring the trophy out, all the volunteers and spectators come out and watch, so it feels different. And obviously now it's just you and your opponent, warm up. I kind of just don't feel like I have it that day. It's a long week. We're out there in the Florida heat and humidity. The final round is just exhausting. I got midway through the match and I'm like, oh my gosh, like in my head I kind of have the first moment of, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like pull this one out. And then I just kind of brought it within me. I'm like, no, you got here, you got to the finals, just get it done. And 7 pars on the last 7 holes was what we needed, and I just kind of went into autopilot at that point. And
we just kept it super simple at that point. That's the time when you can't, I want to cut it here. We just hit the ball on the green and 2-putt.
Once you become a mom, a lot of the things that you want to do gets put on the back burner, and I am very lucky that I have such a supportive husband who wants me to pursue my dreams and pursue what makes me happy. Also, the part with golf is it's hard to try to incorporate young children. Having a 2-year-old screaming in your backswing or laughing and giggling or wanting to run over here and run over there. I think it's important just to show women my age that you can bring your little guy out there and it's not going to be the end of the world, or it's doable. And so I think that it's important for other women to know and other families to incorporate their kids on the golf course, and they might end up loving it too. And now Conrad's asking us, like, let's go hit golf balls. Can we hit golf balls, Mom?
I got that on video. What do you think?
I just think
The special thing about having a U.S. Women's Open at Pebble is it's the first time any woman will be competing at Pebble Beach. And so I think there's a level playing field there a little bit, you know, compared to some of the other LPGA events. And so I think that that's quite an honor and exciting aspect to it.
She's trying to do something that not a lot of people have done, playing golf at a really high level after having kids, which I think is incredible, and I just want to support her as much as I can.
So when I'm out at Pebble Beach and I'm on those signature holes, my main thought definitely is going to be that I just need to get after it.